Well, I spoke today about two topics, about the causes of the Arab uprisings, and then secondly about the rise of Islamist parties. And in short, I made a very straightforward argument that there were multiple and interrelated causes for the Arab uprisings, mostly economic and political, and that an attempt to, and there's a tendency in the social sciences to do this, to try to find a single variable to explain the Arab Spring, quote unquote, or a kind of mono-causal approach is doomed to failure. That there was no one thing, whether it's a youth bulge or increasing commodity prices, that explains the uprisings, and that it was a number of other factors. And I pointed to, of course, the economic factors, but also I highlighted the fact that these were presidents for life and that they tried to put forward hereditary succession plans, in addition to authoritarianism and corruption and so on, poor governance and bad economic conditions, and all of that is a combustible mix. The second argument had to do with what explains the rise of Islamist movements and so on. And I argued that their electoral success after the Arab uprisings should not be surprising to us because, of course, these movements have been around for a long time. They've been the most powerful opposition movements. They are deeply entrenched in society. And in fact, although 2011 wasn't a year of Islamist revolutions, an Islamist revolution did occur earlier, and that was a societal transformation that affected culture, ideas, gender, dress, and so on, that began in the 1970s and took about 2 decades all across the region. In Turkey, it began a little bit later in 1980. And that those reasons, as well as the character of Islamist movements, that these aren't political parties, these are social movements, that are really middle-class and lower-middle-class movements, so they're really connected, entrenched in the society among, or I should say, similar to the vast majority of the population. This explains, I think, why they're doing well in elections compared to liberal and other political forces. That was the basic aspects of my presentation.